Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's time for our match of the day. G2 Esports versus Wolves about to begin. Cannot wait to see how this match shapes up, as both teams have been to the major in Charlotte, North Carolina, only a month or so ago. I want to see how they both shape up against one another here the first day of EU League Stage 2. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm Miller Stomedic, your host. With me are Fresh and Fabian. And friends, I turn to you for some answers about these two squads. First up, Wolves. Fabian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I hope that they do better than they do in my Football Manager game, because they're in a relegation spot right now, so that's not going too great for them.
So you say that because Wolves Esports is owned by the Wolverhampton Wolves, the UK...
Wolverhampton Wanderers, yeah.
Wanderers?
But they have a wolf.
It's because the place is called Wolverhampton, so it's shortened to Wolves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's Wolverhampton Wanderers, yeah.
Well, the Wolves...
doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They have entertaining siege, that's for sure. They play aggressive, they play fast, and they have all the confidence in the world to keep doing just what they are doing. There are a few things that we spoke about earlier today in the pre-show about how they need to slow down with their man advantages, and they also need to have Rice stop dying so early and alone in entry-deaths constantly. So if they stop those two things and they really take care when they have manpower up, they're going to do really well.
Well then, what about G2 on the other side, Fresh?
Oh, I've been so excited to watch G2 play. I've literally been waiting all week to watch G2 play. I'm a well-known G2 simp, but also G2 like to think of themselves at the forefront of the meta. They like to think of themselves as defining new ways of playing, particularly the way that Alamo likes to play. They like to have fun. They like to create strats. There's two operators right out of quarantine. There's Army, Sense. I want to see them using these operators and having a lot of fun with it, creating new ways of playing the game. That's what I expect of them. I expect a good performance as well, because they've had a bit of time with the super team now to start working through initial problems. So everything's lined up well for G2.
Then what map will we be playing on for our match of the day? That's the question. 9-map pool. Either out, one is left, and we're going to go to bank. Stop. Was it Dez's tweet where he's posting about the map that they're getting, and then suddenly it's Favela that's actually picked for it? I'm so sorry about that.
Me and Jackie plays Ranky. I always say, we ban this map, and then we never ban it, and it's always the bad map.
Fabian's
like
that
Favela,
guy. He's like, we banned Favela and we've banned Consulate.
Honestly, we should just...
and then I lied.
We should just have a whole segment on you guys' ranked experience.
We have a good time.
Because I haven't played ranked since Maestro was new. Bank is in here, and G2 starting off on the attacking side. What do you think?
It's a banker map for both teams, excuse the pun.
Please.
Both teams love this map, so it's not a surprise to see them play each other on this particular map. It's number 1 and 2 preference. It's number 1 preference for Wolves, number 2 preference for G2. If you remember G2 at the start of last stage, they invented the half clear, the way of half clearing lockers on this map using Ossa. So they're innovative on this map as well.
Jack, do you think they will take some strats out of their vault?
I like it.
Is it like a security deposit space somewhere?
Yeah, it is. Far deep in the vault. There's a hatch there now. Easy access.
That's...
Just silence?
Yeah, that's all you're going to get.
Game ready? Do we just
then, what about... Not yet. But very quickly, who takes it? Wolves G2?
It's an even matchup. I think both teams love to play this map. It suits both their playstyles. I lean towards G2, just simple, the same way as Rogue. They're too big to fail. You cannot fail with these players. Now you've had the stage where they talk about, we'll learn to play. Well, now it's up to them to show that they know how to play.
G2 take it for me. I think they've been good innovators, particularly on this map. It's one of their favourites. They know how to play. It's a solid map for them.
All right. Boys, thank you very much. Let's toss it then to our casters. Ace and Dez, take it away.
Thank you very much, Milos. Back again for Game 3 and Game of the Day. Sure to be an absolute screamer, this one, Tim.
It should be. I mean, if you look at my predictions, Des, so far I've managed to highlight both losers correctly. So, you know, by that logic, G2 should be going pretty well here.
He's gone for Wolves on this one. I've gone G2. But again, no bias coming in. Promise you on that one.
I've got to give a shout to Last Fire there. That was his joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I took it off the timeline.
Thief. I'm absolute thief. What I do love about this game, thinking about it, is I remember one of the first games we cast back in Stage 1 was Rogue versus G2 in this matchup. And Rogue, I thought, played better despite G2 winning overall. They had a better lay of the land. They were being more aggressive and pacey on their attacks. On the defense, they were holding ground for longer and really slowing G2 down. Whereas there were a few rounds where we pinpointed G2 and said, you guys are all back on site downstairs in basement by the 90-second mark. You could have been out for another 30 because you weren't really being pressured by Rogue all that much. But no, they were being very, very safe and very, very passive. I'd like to see them come out and be a little more hard-hitting. Maybe you go back to that game and say partially it's down to the fact they were a new team. They hadn't had a lot of time together, but now you've had a whole stage. You've had a major. You've had several boot camps. It's got to go right for them today, Tim.
Well, that's it. You just run out of time, don't you? Ultimately, yes, we can give that leeway to begin with, but, like you say, I think we are reaching that point where results are certainly going to start to be expected. Talking of expected, in comes the first ban. It is the knock.
Don't.
I'm not, because she's been banned out. So surely it would not be right to be making puns about her when she's not there.
I just knew that was coming. I don't know why I said anything. I just knew it was going to happen.
Thatcher will continue the bans, as will Valkyrie, and then we'll have our fourth and final operator coming in, possibly a Mirror, possibly a Kaid. There we go, it's Kaid. So that is going to make those hatches just a little bit easier to gain access to. We'll probably see plenty of those being dropped, and looking for that vertical superiority. It's quite a strange sight, really, when you think about the basement on Bank and Lockers. The hatches are very, very popular, and verticality does play a big part on the site, but there's really not a lot of verticality available. There's no soft surfaces to be taken out above the Locker's site. It's all from two hatches, effectively. You can apply pressure from the third and fourth, from elevator and main lobby if you choose to, but it's not directly onto site. It's the two, the one in open area and the one in the office there, that create all that verticality. And it's interesting because if you look at other sites like Oregon, for example, the basement down there, you don't really get a lot of verticality because there's no destructible surfaces. But
I think,
Bank,
though,
a little bit unique.
When you look back towards Oregon, though, really there's only one hatch that seems to have a massive impact. I won't say the only one that has a big impact, but the one that has an active role in an execute is the E-Box hatch. Here, potentially three get themselves really in the mix, right? There's a lot more opportunity for them to be involved. You can cut out rotates, for example, with the one inside admin office. The one in square means no one can rotate back out towards server. It is a lot more deadly, but I do get your point. There isn't any real vertical. There isn't any vertical, but there are five hatches to play through.
Vertical.
Which is why normally her banner is so popular on this map, and you will see it if we go onto that downstairs side. But for now, we are going to open area and staff room to kick things off. Going to be walls with a little defense up on the top four, and as expected here, Tim, we're seeing that Azami coming out once again when she's not banned away.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of use of Azami when available, just showing you, the strength that the pro teams see in this operator. Look at this from Alamo, inside 25 seconds already inside the map. There's going to be searching with the F2, moving through on the Twitch, looking to get an entry, but
the read.
Shut down by Shinka.
They heard him on the beepers there as well. Always the big problem you're going to have. They just listen out even remotely and you hear it. And now Citizen has gone and done the exact same. So that, again, they'll have that idea. Oh, someone's come up through top of blue. Let's keep a close eye on it and be ready for someone to come and step in and challenge. They've got the one window castled off, so the force is going to have to come in straight through the doorway, which again just makes a very narrow bottleneck for the defenders to hold on to. Not really a lot they have to worry about challenging there. Just let G2 come at you.
It will, and that entry is going to probably make Wolves just a little bit more passive here. They don't need to get overly aggressive. They can now try and hold. I say that, and then Mowgli, I should have known better, steps into stock, and he makes himself a little bit of a purchase on the windows there. Takes the man down, and what an investment that could prove to be. 5 versus 3 now, as Wolves get themselves a serious advantage. And in round number 1, G2 are left scratching their heads. They're left scrapping to try and find anything at all. Citizen's going to be moving across the basement floor here, looking for anybody playing underneath, but he just can't commit to it, Des. He can't go chasing down P4 because they don't have the manpower.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really recall seeing any active drones at the feet, or hot drones, live drones, whatever you want to call them, in front of the players that were marching their way forward as well. They're kind of the key things that you're sort of looking at there to really help you be confident on that entry. And I don't think it could get inside of Archives itself because of the mute jammer that was down from Shinky. You did just see one of those drones jammed out for a second. So it's good from Wolves if they're roaming, well, not really roaming, but pushing out to that perimeter room to have a bit of coverage from utility in there to make it harder to kill the players inside of it. And so far, Wolves have been rewarded.
Citizen just holding the angle. He's got himself established inside of Archives now, which is more than Alamo was able to do. But as you say, they're just unaware at the minute. Wolves have been able to dip themselves back. You can see they're just holding angles largely inside of sight for the time being. 35 seconds left to go. Bibu going to take some damage there. Brilliant from Citizen. Just to light a little bit of a fire under this G2 attack. He gets himself a second, and that is the sort of performance G2 are going to need out of him tonight if they want to take the win here against Wolves. 3 versus 3, 20 seconds left to go. The clock could become a problem for G2 though, as Shinka manages to find Doke, and it is all up to Virtue and Citizen to push forward and to take the initiative here, get themselves inside of sight and start finding some kills. 10 seconds left to go. Bibu, he manages to find one on low health. Mowgli on the kill to Virtue, and that is going to be the first round going to Wolves. But I tell you what, Des, it wasn't a million miles away. G2 bringing it back to 3-3 at the mid-round there and really put Wolves up against it.
I'd be really shocked if Wolves are coming a timeout all this early, but we'll get that off screen in just a moment as well and should be able to crack on with things. That round really for me, G2 just didn't really seem to have it all together as a team, right? And this was something I spoke about a little bit yesterday when we were doing a little preview stream ahead of this all kicking off. The comment was there's a big difference between 5 players that are playing together and a team. I think really what you saw in that round felt like a bunch of players doing their own thing, right? Alamar was kind of way ahead of Citizen. They weren't playing for trades on there. He walked in with absolutely no punishment coming back the other way. Citizen was then kind of deliberating, do I go up, do I go down? There were no drones leading him in. Everything was just very kind of separate, which meant they just petered out as these numbers got picked off one by Wolves, who just had their number time and time again. And to know you're going into that last 60 seconds with no real intel, which you could see by the way Citizen was moving, just goes to show that was not the start that G2 wanted to see. Well done by Wolves to pick off some key members and be aware of that push coming up blue stairs, but we've got to see better coming out of G2 in round 2.
And we're going to have to see it better on the attack onto basement, which we discussed at the beginning of the game. It is going to be down there on the bottom floor lockers this time around. So we can see a little bit of that partial hold on the mid floor from Wolves. They've got themselves the castle barricade. They're going to try to hold on to open. I don't mind this too much. We've discussed it at length before. And my real issue with it is how much commitment is there to open. And we've seen teams overcommit to too much utility in there, and they get chased away within 45 seconds, and all that utility is wasted. This time, we've got a couple of reinforcers, we've got a castle barricade, that's about it. So yeah, waste as much time as you can, drop back down through that hatch, and then try to hold on to sight. I think Wolves are doing it the right way.
I do really want to commend Wolves, because inside 25 seconds of this round starting, G2 had already lost 4 drones. They've just lost another to Mowgli as he stepped out to look towards lobby. And I know it kind of feels like people are like, why are you so focused and pressed about drones, man? It's not that big a deal. It is, because they're then attacking in blind. And bearing in mind, they're just looking to get inside ATMs here, Tim. They've barely even stepped inside the map itself, and already they're down on half of their utility count.
This is it. It's great from Wolves so far. They've got a good understanding of this defence. They've still got themselves present in the mid.
Why have we got three sets of hard breaches?
For hard breaching?
I mean, okay. Well, soft breaches, sorry, in this case, breaching charges. Unless you're looking to get rid of castles, then I don't know. But again, you're just stepping in blind here, and Mowgli's just taking you for a free ride.
Mowgli with a great opener, and that's Wolves' open area defence. It's another perfect step for them. They've wasted time, they've got the entry, and now with half of the round wasted, they can just start dropping back to sight. They're not all going to go at once. You can see there's still the Goyo left. Rise is still inside of Tellers here, and they can do, because they've got the man over now. They've got that spare man. 5 versus 4, he can just stay up there and play his life. If he gets another kill, fantastic. If he doesn't, there's 4 still on site for G2 to go through, and they haven't even started touching the site yet, Des.
Well, they just look unbothered. I mean, finally they've got a bit of a pinch on here. This C4 could have been everything, but Prano shoots it out. The 1v1 coming in, and Prano finds his man. Good bit of team play coming out from G2, but at what cost, Tim? They've only got 60 seconds left.
That's it. There's so much work for G2 to do here. They need to get themselves downstairs and think about exactly where this diffuser's going to go down. Otherwise, they're going to be left with a hatch drop,
this
trying
blind
to just
drop.
go in and get it directly. P4,
No.
they've no idea, Des! You picked up on the drones earlier, and that is what it costs you. 30 seconds left to go, and they have just lost another 3v3, and this is now something that Wolves should be able to hold on to. They've got the Goyo canisters popping, Des. They're down to about 5 to 10 seconds, G2 left, with anything that they can do.
7 seconds they'll have once that time's out. Nade's going to start raining through here. They've got to pick a man or two, but the man that's inside the garage is miles away. Look at him. He's dug in so far. Prano's still waiting. The smoke's still coming out. The Wolves have played this absolutely beautifully. Run run that clock down and now starving G2 out. They're going to have to go for a Hail Mary, and Citizen might just be the Mary here. 2 kills coming in. Shinka getting 1 back, but the time's about to run out before Citizen picks up a 3K and literally saves the round from the jaws of defeat for G2.
G2 cannot rely on players like that. I'm going to put it very clearly. Yes, G2 got the round. Yes, it was a great play from Citizen at the end of things there. But I will tell you now, G2 will lose, and any other team will lose that round 9 rounds out of 10 with the way Wolves played it. Great play on the mid floor. Got themselves a kill. 4 men back with only a minute to go, and G2 only just starting to push side. Goyo canister popped, leaving 5 to 10 seconds left for that final assault. As we saw, Prano couldn't get through the utility to get the diffuser down. He died trying. It was only because of a hero play from Citizen that G2 got anything out of that, and they cannot rely on it.
I know we're putting a lot of focus on G2 here and talking about what they're not quite getting right, but again, I do want to commend Wolves for the things that... Tim, they've lost 2 drones again already. I remember being told a long time ago by, I think it was back on old M&M before they became Na'Vi, actually, and the whole rule there was drones are like gold dust. If you lose one in the drone phase, it's already a failed drone phase for you. You should not be losing any drones that early on. And there's that kind of debate that came in around attacker repick of, okay, well, you've got to be more aggressive with your drones in the prep phase to be able to find out what ops they've got, what the setup is. You've got to find out the information so you can make picks if required. So I understand it, but again, G2 are just bleeding this info game so early on. At least here have held on to a couple more, but for Wolves, again, full credit to them. They're doing a great job of getting rid of those drones and really slowing this G2 side down.
As you say, everything is sort of going right for them, and really they deserve to be 2-0 up at this point in time. But G2 do have those players. It's not just Citizen. They've got, you know, a roster stacked with names who are going to be able to pull out those late round moments that will grab them rounds that they probably shouldn't be getting. But let's see if Wolves can hold on to the top floor. Rather than going back to lockers, they are this time going to be heading up to the top floor. It's going to be CEO. They've got Mowgli out on Banana. They've got the Castle of Bibu just playing in the elevators at the minute. Mowgli could get a big opener again. He sees the Hibana come up onto the rappel, but there's no need to stretch that far across. At the minute, the focus is on getting that elevator wall up.
They have to know that there's going to be a man playing around Banana. They have to know that this mute is here. If he gets Prano for free, that is a massive slip-up. We've seen teams like BDS attacking this site. They'll have someone come through ATMs with nades in hand and start tossing them skywards to force this player away. At the very least, you soften them up, or you stick someone on the rappel on the north-facing windows and also look to threaten that player. But right now, I don't really see a world where he's being pressured. To say that, actually, we've got Alamau and Doki now both up on the rappel, so they are in a spot to challenge on towards Mowgli, who so far is protected by those 2 castle barricades.
Citizen here is going to be looking to get a nade up onto clear out that mute jammer. That's exactly what happens. That gives them the access into elevator.
Seconds.
But as you say, Des, it's taken them a long time to do it. And there goes the Kiba barricade that's just going to block that back up. We're seeing the power of his army. So guess what? They can still keep Bibu in the elevators. 1 minute 10 left on the clock, Des, and G2 still no real progress inside of the map.
Mowgli's still unmoved as well. He's still sat around Banana, and there's a lot of utility that's coming from G2 here. Yet so far, I've not made a single man really step away from any of their positions. Rise is dug in, has been concussed out here a couple of times, but that's a critical bit of utility coming through. Finally, Doki's patience is rewarded. Mowgli is taken down, but that's step 1 of about 10, Tim, and they've only got 40 seconds to go.
Alamau charging through site. He's going to get himself his army inside of Janitor. There's one on his right. Does he find him on the desk? Yes, he does. Better play from Alamau this time around. He flicks around, nearly gets the man at Square Skylight. Here comes Bibu.
No way.
1v5, 1v3, shut down by Citizen, and that is going to be the end of the round. G2 just managing to really ramp up the pressure, ramp up the aggression and the speed towards the end of that round and get themselves round 3 in the books. 2-1 G2, and that for me was G2's best looking round so far.
It was. Wolves did a really good job of really burning that time down as well. The hold around Kanto up on the lobby stairs with the Wamai magnets, everything really came together to waste tons of time. And again, I'll probably draw a question towards G2 as to why it was Virtue you had stepping in through ATMs to chuck a couple of smokes up. Their nades were really coming in from the south side towards Lone Office, whereas again, normally you would see a Finca or an Iana stepping through ATMs and toss those nades skywards. You've got Gon 6s to get rid of the castle barricades. Nades can come in through in as large a number as you want. You can really make the push work, but ultimately there, it was Alamau finding that small chink in the armor of the side of Wolves, marching on through and getting a couple of kills that really opened that round up, because that's when the Wolves backline just crumbled and fell apart.
Alamau really shouldn't be getting away with that double kill there, I don't think. He goes into Janitor, and granted, he doesn't peek a long way through the rotate, but he shows enough of himself. You've got a player on table there. There's nobody challenging top main. There's nobody in stock. There's nobody at the top of Spiral. The challenger's got to come back through onto that rotate. You can't let Alamau get away for free and then come back for afters.
You've done it right Northern then, Tim.
Have
He said he was on table. Rather
I've
than
told you, I have said the word "the." I've just said it too quick for your... I'm going to call you Southern because you're
not Southern.
Further southern than me. So it's too quick for your ears to hear, that's all.
What?
It's like at a frequency. It's like at a frequency that if you're not from the north, you can't pick up on it.
It was like when you first gave me that example on going on computer, and I was like, what?
Yeah, on the computer, on the table. It's just you can't hear it, Des. It's too quick for you.
So say it how you normally would then.
On table.
Fantastic. Citizens straight in again here this time round with an entry. So the first couple of rounds did go the way of LFO. Doki got one in the last round, so maybe, just maybe, G2 are starting to warm up a little bit here. They are up at 2-1. It hasn't been convincing so far, but at least here they found the entry without losing a man on the other side. Rise, I hate to say it as well, he had a really rough time at both at the major and in the last stage. Wasn't putting up good numbers. That's continuing here today, 0-4 so far.
I will, to be fair to G2, I will say that whilst I wasn't overly convinced round 1 and 2, it's getting more convincing as we go round by round. And as you say, G2 are really starting to grow into this one. Rise losing the smoke there at the beginning of the round as well. Not just the death, but also the utility that's gone. Those 3 toxic babe canisters. Maybe not an essential part of the defence in open area, but still vital on many, many sites and can have a big impact. So not ideal for them. Rise on the cams at the minute, trying to give information into his fellow defenders, but 5v4 and G2, they have got a little bit of time to play with now.
I love the playground that Wolves have set up inside of this room twice now, by the way. It's only 1 down, or 2 down so far, but they always do it with the third one as well. That gives them a really cheeky angle in towards where Citizen came from, archives in towards this admin office. So keep an eye on that as more of those charges come online and watch what Bibba goes for. I know he's got 3 in back pocket at this point, so has the option to make use of them if he wants to. For now, may just wait to see where the G2 attack comes from, and that is the beauty in the Azami. You haven't got to set them up straight away at round start. It's pretty safe because they're a ranged gadget for you to do a bunch of site transformation a little bit later on, or use it as they've shown so far in closing up breaches that have been opened up. A nade coming through, and Mowgli surely is not long for this world if they can get a nade through. It's at the doorway, and he's going to tuck in right towards the back there. Might get tickled by it, but no, keeps himself in one piece.
Mowgli manages to drop and keep himself alive, but he finds himself in the jaws of death once again, face to face with Citizen. P4 manages to double up though. Beautiful teamwork coming out of Wolves there to find the kill onto the man underneath. 15 seconds left to go, and all of a sudden that time is ticking away from G2. Doki manages to find P4. They need to get themselves inside a site, so they've got an option of getting that diffuser down. The spray down from Bibu as they try to drop into site. Doki with a big double 2v1. Diffuser not in hand though, Des. Time's going to tick away. Mowgli can win this, and does. Wolves 2-2 on the scoreboard.
It kind of comes back to what I said about G2 in several games last season, Tim. These hero plays and relying on them is not the way to get a game over the finish line. I know you said you were more convinced as we've gone through this game, but looking back at round 3 and now at round 4 as well, round 3, Alamau Crouch walking through, killing 2 people, opening everything up. Round 4, Doki walking on through, killing 3 people, and just again opening things up for G2. So whilst Wolves are making small slip-ups here and letting individual players just tear through them, G2 again in the first 2 minutes of the round just look too slow, burning through their utility and info far too quickly. That means they're forced to make these hero plays. Otherwise, they could be looking down the barrel of a 0-4 right now, Tim. They're very fortunate to be at 2-2. I'm really hoping the second half goes better for them when we get there.
Going to be heading down to the basement once again. It's as we said, a great defence that Wolves showed us last time around. It all came down to a Citizen 3K at the end of the round for G2 to get it over the line, but you just feel if Wolves do the same thing in the same way, Des, unless G2 can win some gunfights, particularly on that mid floor, and quickly to give themselves more time to soften sight up, it's going to be a problem for them because, like I say, that Wolves defence, I would expect the way that played out for them to be winning that round 8-9 times out of 10 because it was very, very nice and the timing of it particularly was well thought out. So G2, they need to have a plan here of how to deal with this, and that plan comes in the shape of Alamau with the Monty.
Yeah, direct to site. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I like it as a change in plan. Depends on if everyone else backs up around him and they have a multi kind of faceted execute coming together. I think if you try and strong arm this, you're going to come up against the Echo. You're coming up against the smoke. You've got C4s coming your way. You've got those Goyo canisters again. Let's not forget that Wolves did burn through quite literally about 45 seconds of time with those 3 smoke canisters and the Vulcan canister that was on the other side of the wall. So G2 know they've got to move at pace, but that's one thing they haven't been able to do so far. I'm hoping the Monty unlocks that.
Depending where that Goyo canister is located on the inside of that wall, with a clever ping potentially, yeah, it could be shot out because the wall to the side of it is soft. If they get the ping on it, they could potentially clear that out themselves and take that option, both of them I dare say, and just remove that possibility from Wolves, and then it's in the hands of G2. They should be able to clear both from the soft wall.
Nice, there we go. They got both with a single nade, both taken away. Good from G2. Because now they've got 1:50 and they're in a position to start thinking about this execute. They've still got to chunk through, 3 smokes at this point. The C4 already got used by Rise. Not sure what that was expelled on, but Mowgli, we've seen magical 3Ks from this spot. Here he comes and finds one. Away he goes once again into the shadows, or more specifically the janitor's closet, as Rise holding off towards the side can't quite find his shots in time. G2 know about these players on the upstairs, but they are trying to ignore them for as much as they can. My only concern is here that if Mowgli gets himself downstairs and onto that hatch, well, they're in for a world of hurt.
That's the big problem. With the hatch being open now, Mowgli getting that kill onto Doki top floor, it basically sounds the alarm for G2.
Well, look,
like,
P4 as well.
Yep, it's immediately right. We have to come away from this attack. We have to come away from this push. They've done good work. They've cleared out the Goyo canisters. They had a number of options, as I said, shooting through the soft wall, using the nades. They've done that well. They've cleared the utility. It gives them a little bit of breathing space, but they have to deal with these mid and top floor players, because if not, there's no way that diffuser goes down with the hatch open.
I like how they've hard pulled off this as well. Alamau are giving support from top of blue for Citizen, who's trying to push in through electrical here. But do they know where these players are? There are 3 of them, all hovering around, 2 in archives. You have Mowgli on the upstairs as well. They're just daring G2 to come for them, and G2 are biting like absolute champions at this point, Tim.
Mowgli, he's peeking onto the windows. He knows that there's one out on rappel. He doesn't even really need to be that smart, because he's going to make them think he's going for the jump out, and that's another 10 seconds burnt. I absolutely love that heads-up play from Mowgli. Rise, P4, backing him up. There's honestly very little G2 can do here. They've just got to step in and take gunfights. It doesn't matter that they've got 1 kill. Wolves are going to just continue playing this. There's 10 seconds left to go. G2 have got nowhere to go here. Mowgli, he goes in, gets aggressive, takes down Citizen, time ticking by. Smoke canisters out. Alamau dealt with. Wolves 3-2. Simple as that.
That was incredibly simple. G2, the direct-to-site approach is great, but you've got to have some really good flank watch on the go. I forget what player it was. It could have been Benja in last stage, where he gets a wicked... Maybe it was even Kanto. I forget. Either way...
You're not thinking of Achieved from stock, are you?
I am. Was it Achieved?
Yeah, it was Achieved from stock.
I was going to say, I thought it was last stage here.
No.
Was it SI?
It was SI.
That'll be why it feels so long ago.
It was Achieved from stock.
Yeah, was ignored, came to the top of square and killed 3 players through the hatch, and it was just like... That's
we were
the
all
round
sitting
over.
gleefully watching because he'd been misdrawn, and we were like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, he's gonna go! He's gonna go!" And
I remember very, very vividly now. Yeah, that was the exact moment. And I saw it again. Then whenever I see a Vigil come up past Janitor, I'm just like, okay, it's going to happen again. They're going to get bitten on the backside by it, because they had drones on the downstairs, but none on the up. They were relying instead on the player that was at the top of square to do the work for them, but sadly watching completely the wrong way, expecting a push instead to come through archives, which it did once the Vigil had got that kill, because there was then no overwatch to keep the archive players from moving forwards, and G2 were forced to try and go aggressive with Citizen and Alamau trying to pair up. But again, it's now the 5th round that I feel G2, I don't want to say haven't got a clue. They're down to 2 drones, by the way, Tim. But there's been 2 rounds now where, 5 rounds where it doesn't really feel like everything's really there and aligned in their heads. They're having to make these hero plays to get over the finish line, and you cannot rely on that throughout an entire stage.
G2, as you say, just losing a couple of drones there. Not quite as straightforward anymore because it shows you 5. Just to highlight
Not
to everybody,
anymore.
it shows 5 in the prep phase.
Yes, sorry.
And then it adds the second 5
I thought you were going to talk about Twitch.
in the action phase.
Yes.
And so, they've got 7. They've got 7 now.
Which is bad, 20 seconds into a round.
Yes, and that's not good. Should be
But if you're running out of drones, Tim, just bring more of them. Just bring Twitch. You've got 2 more.
Just bring Twitch, bring your
What an amazing idea.
Imagine.
Novel.
So, G2, they're going to be looking to get this last one. If they can, even up at 3-3 here, this is not the end of the world for them. And they've certainly got something to take away from this first half. But for me, if I'm honest, Wolves look like the better team, quote unquote. They are the ones that have won rounds through good use of strats, good use of time, whereas G2 have had a couple of rounds from big players, from individual players, like we've said. And that's something G2 need to work on. But to be honest, when G2 get on the defence, they'll have much more of an opportunity to show us that strategic capability.
I always say wait for that second half. A team can be terrible in the first, but things can completely transform once you're getting towards the second. Now, G2 are at the same point again, where they're being pinned up here by Kanto. They've got to open a lot quicker, so it was about 1:10 on the clock when they got it opened up last time, and immediately those keeper barriers came out and reclosed up the hole. So here about 35 seconds faster, they're on it. Doki's looking to pressure off onto Mowgli, who he really wants to make run. He has taken a bit of chip damage, but not enough to be scared away again from Banana halfway into the round.
No way, Mowgli's going to stay in there for as long as possible until he's absolutely given no other option. Citizen looking to push onto the main stairs. He's got the drone information. That is definitely telling him
Oh my
there.
God.
That is not ideal from Citizen. Doesn't catch a man, does catch a drone.
Like he had the nade in hand before the drone had even got to the top of the stairs as well, so he was preempting it, sure, but now they're just playing blind. That's 2 grenades used, a drone down. That's literally like a 3-0 loss for G2, and nothing really given away by Wolves except control of the top of Marble.
We have seen G2 able to do this in the late round. Mowgli, however, he finds one onto Doki. Nice kill from Alamau. He was the hero last time on the top floor. He starts things by getting that trade immediately, but they did lose Doki along the way. 4v4, 45 seconds left to go. Bibu finds Prano, and it's all slipping away from G2 in this first half. They're going to be looking at a 4-2 loss here. Beautiful shot from Citizen, though. It's Citizen and Alamau combining once again to drag this round back from the brink. It's 3 versus 2, 30 seconds left to go.
They've actually got time, though, Tim. 30 seconds is a decent amount of time to win this 3 versus 2. Yes, you don't really need the information at this point, but you know roughly where these last couple of players are. P4 was taking shots not too long ago, but they've completely forgotten about him here. He's going to wait and bide his time, gets the down onto Alamau, won't get the finish off, and the impact won't connect either. But here comes Citizen on the crouch. No, he completely looks the wrong way. How have they missed that one? Virtue starts bringing it back, but P4 gets the closeout as well. How on earth have G2 let that one slip? And more importantly, where the hell was Citizen looking?
There's a couple of big questions inside of that round in the information game of G2. We've already mentioned the Citizen nade up main stairs that took his own drone out. We've then got that situation, and I don't know how that happens, because you've got one man getting gunned from across site. He gets down, but granted doesn't necessarily know exactly where the Wamai is, but should have a reasonable idea. Let's be honest, they had a reinforcement on the left-hand side of him, so the shots ain't coming from the left, they're coming from your right. So even with that call out there, like you say, Citizens then sort of going in looking the wrong way. Maybe there was another bit of information, maybe a sound, maybe something that just gave him an inkling that he was between 2 players and he was thinking that he was pinched or something, but ultimately it's a lack of information. It's G2 in a 3v2 not knowing where the 2 are.
We saw that when Citizen first came pushing in around Banana, right? He was kind of blind spraying into the very back corner of CEO, where it was like, well, no one's really there. We can obviously see, with the beauty of our wonderful outlines given to all the operators, that no one was present in that area. So although it felt like they had an idea there was a player hanging just inside of long desk, they saw the kind of the hole being punched open, being shotgunned open, whatever. They knew there was some action there, yet no player really responded to that. I think they maybe assumed it was a long-range shot coming through or something. Either way, G2 paid the price. It is 4-2 to Wolves. Again, I really feel they should be 5-1, if not 6-0 up here. It was not a good half for G2, but equally, Wolves could have a really bad attacking half here, and suddenly we're saying exactly the same things about them.
That's it. The next 2 rounds are going to be very telling now as to just exactly how the rest of this is going to go. Interestingly, not only is the scoreboard 4-2, but the entry is 4-2 as well. Wolves at the advantage, but it has not been as simple as getting the entry and winning the round.
Who got it in round 6?
There's been a little bit of a mix match there. It was Mowgli with the C4 onto Doki. So, yeah, it's gone well so far, but there we go, Mowgli. He's going to eat a nitro for the entry death this time. Virtue managing to find the Thinker as well. Nano boost gone, grenades gone, Gon 6 gone. A lot of utility left there, and that's before you even touch the 100-round magazine on the LMG.
I was about to say, or touch the player himself, right? Mowgli, like, absolute demon back in stage 1. Had some great showings at the Charlotte Major as well. Not the ideal one to be losing again when players like Rise, I hate to keep touching on him, 0-6 so far, really struggling to make a big impact, not necessarily required when players like P4, Mowgli, Bibu are really getting up there in the numbers as well. So they are making progress here about halfway into the round. They finally got in on this top floor and can start thinking about their next step forward.
Shinka having a close look at the drone there for a second.
I thought it was his.
For a second, I thought he was either going to take it out or try and grab it, but it's not yours to grab. So he's going to continue moving on across the top floor. Wolves now, I think, happy that they are in control of the top floor. 7 drones still left as nearly 2 minutes into the round, so going a little bit better than G2 on keeping those active, imagine. But they are a man down, and there is a lot of work to do yet. They haven't even cleared blue stairs.
No, that's going to be the focus at this point. But Virtue, look, he's just tooled up to the high heavens. He's got ADSs. He's got the shotgun. He's on the ward and ready for some flashes to come in. At this point, Wolves aren't yet making that step forward. Whether or not they get a drone at the bottom and can see exactly what's going on in there may well inform it. You've got that kind of dangerous dance to do if this hatch gets opened up as well. Do they push me from below? Do they push me from above? So there are options for Wolves here, but it does consume more time and give some risk about some support potentially coming from site itself.
That's it. With how much time is
and
left,
there it is,
Virtue's going nowhere. He's committed to blue stairs now. He doesn't care if he gets pushed from the bottom. He doesn't care about being pushed from the top. There's 30 seconds left to go. He's still alive on blue. Virtue has already won the round in terms of what he's trying to do. He gets himself one, shut down in the trade. P4 manages to get him, but 20 seconds left to go. They need to get that diffuser inside of sight. P4, now is not the time to be taking out ADSs at the top of blue. We need that focus into getting there, getting themselves established to put that diffuser down. It's what it's going to take, Des. They're going to have to go past the Kiba barricade. P4 does. He's shut down by Alamo. The plant is going down. Bibu manages to get a kill on the cover. Shinka might just stick this. It's 2v2. They've got the diffuser down, Des. And Wolves, they managed to swing it in a 2v4. It's Bibu with a 3k. And now, with 30 seconds left to go, Alamo, he's got to find 2. And you're right, Des. Shinka, he's scarpered.
He could long arm it maybe, but then you get exposed to the other hatch, but you know there's a very good chance Shinka goes to this hatch, not the one playing around square. But I think Alamau a little bit lost. Here we go. Potential long arm coming through. Will they know about this? Flash coming down. Will the drop come through into the last couple of seconds? Yes, it will. And Shinka gets the closeout. Bibu, the hero of gold bars in that round. Wolves move up to 5-2.
Honestly, Bibu needs locking up for that robbery, Des. He has just gone straight into the vault and taken everything that wasn't nailed down. He has taken everything that he wanted out of there. G2 are going to be left scratching their heads at the end of that round because Wolves had no right to get that one. It was just like the G2 win on that site in round 2. Wolves just had no right.
They didn't, and G2 will know about it as well. I'm pretty sure that's why we've got this tactical timeout coming through. Some things to be course corrected here, boys. A few glum faces on the team because this, again, was not the start they were looking for. Not to take it away from Wolves, by the way. They've been on that up and up. They've been picked up by an organisation. They've competed at the major. They've had that time to really gel as a team as well. The same can arguably be said for G2, but clearly something is still not quite right in this team, Tim.
Certainly looks that way, Des. As you say, we've picked up on playing as individuals. We've said that previously in stage 1, at the major a little bit. We're now looking, you've already picked up on it today, a little bit of the same situation. Not as much on defence, but it's just those, just the comms don't seem to be there sometimes. Like you say, there's deaths coming in, there's players not really reacting to them. Bibu's walked in and got a 3k there. He's been able to take 1v1v1v1 each time and get those kills. There was no opportunity there. The defenders have to be playing together. They need to be getting a trade there. They're effectively in that little mini battle in the round, 3v1. Get Bibu killed. Even if the diffuser goes down, you're still going to win the round. You 3v1, you send somebody upstairs to challenge Shinka on the hatch and you defuse. Like, they have to win that gunfight against Bibu.
At least one of them does, for sure.
One of them does.
Although Alamau arguably should have been dead to the first hatch drop, did get the reverse kill onto the one inside of sight itself, but just couldn't quite find that second one onto Bibu. Okay, no doubt we're going to see a similar sort of style again, I imagine, where Virtue's going to play up on blue stairs, bringing that warden along once again. C4 in hand, ADS is deployed and at the ready. You also got Doki looking here to get out on the roam up on the top floor. Reason being, often attackers will start up on those window rappels and try and get through the top floor and work your way down, just to make sure you have a very convincing clear. Where did that C4 just go? Was it up on the floor?
Yes.
I thought it threw it through the doorway, and I was like, hang on a second.
It just looked like a strange trajectory.
It
As he
did,
let go of
yeah.
it didn't really look like something that was going to catch on the ceiling.
Tim. What's this in front of P4? It's got a drone at his feet.
It's this little camera that's got wheels, Des.
Really?
Yeah, and it can feed information into the attackers, and they can be ready for gunfire.
That sounds like a must-have for any team, and they should be really good at
it didn't work there, though, did it?
No, because too much focus was going on the drone itself. For Doki to then come over the top and get a kill, almost finds a second, spraying through the soft wall out towards square, but can't quite connect. Still a good man to find one of the 2 entries on the side of Wolves.
That is good start there, 5 versus 4 G2, but levelled out very quickly as Mowgli manages to find Citizen, and then he's going to juice himself up, and he's going to continue going 4v4. It is the kills that you're looking for from the Thinker these days. That is exactly what you want that operator to do. Get in and get kill after kill after kill, whether it be with nades, whether it be with that LMG. Clear out a little bit of utility along the way, and Thinker is rounding out a very, very full job at the minute.
Lots still to do, though, here for the side of Wolves. Doki still lurking around on this top floor. He's just daring them to come in, and they are going to get in, but it's over on square, so he won't see this coming through. Saw a drone coming through not too long after, but for now, at least, he's still dancing around. And yes, there is a player on that window, Doki, as you now just saw. Another drone kill coming through, and this is where we've got to start seeing that pinch onto the Scotsman coming in.
Got to get him dealt with now. This is Doki almost at his best. This is what we're looking for, where he's getting ultra mobile. He's able to move around the map, take gunfight, and move, shoot and move, shoot and move. That is where Doki will excel. Prano down and taken out, though. Mowgli with a second on the round, and that now leaves us 4 versus 3. Wolves with the advantage. Doki off site, so there can only be 2 at most back there, Des. There's 1 by the look of it on blue stairs, so they are light-handed right now, G2, inside of sight. Wolves not recognising that quite yet, and still looking to push Doki and catch him out, and they will. 4 versus 2.
Unreal Mowgli dragging it back after that last round where he was the entry to Virtue. Has transformed things in round 8, March on his way forwards, and Doki being cut off, pincered, shut down by the Wolves, who sink their fangs in, and now looking to get this one up to match point. Alamau and Virtue, all that stand between Wolves in this last 30 seconds, are moving up to that match point.
Wolves moving very quickly at this point. Virtue going to get himself back towards side. Alamau does manage to catch Bibu out. I don't know if he was trying for the backstab again, but it is not going to be successful. 2 versus 3, 15 seconds left to go, and G2, they might just be able to use that clock as the extra man here. Alamau's waiting for that hatch drop to come through, but Shinka, he's the one to worry about. He's gone in and he's getting the diffuser down. Virtue can't quite get the angle. Yes, he can. He finds his man, and surely that's the win. Rise goes in, starts getting that diffuser down, but Virtue, he's got it all too easy, and somehow G2 hold on. Alamau, Virtue, take a bow.
Pulling off that 3 versus 2. You really thought how this game had been going, that Wolves would close it out, but no. They keep it battling back. And I really feel that Wolves did a lot of things right there, right? They got this kind of early cut across the ground floor, isolated Doki, didn't send Rise off by himself to go and chase him down. No, they committed 2 players to go after him. It was a little bit of pot luck, I think, because Rise went off to the right-hand side as Mowgli went left, and Mowgli was just guns up ready for Doki to come pushing through and got that shutdown. But really, in a 3 versus 2, on that 30-second count, with the last 2 players of G2 scrambling back to site, you should be getting the win there. They'll look back at that and say that's another one of those 3 rounds that G2 have got that really should be in our bank, and this map could have even been over by now.
That's it. I was just going to say the same thing. If Wolves don't win this, that round 8, is one that they will be looking back at and saying there's no way we should be giving that away. You know, they need some sort of cover in place for Shinka on the plant. They can't allow Virtue to just take his shots like that. They have to have somebody challenging into red to prevent that plant being shut down as it was. Now then, we head into round number 9. Can G2 take some heart, find some momentum off the back of that round? They're going to be defending this time open area, so they're going to want to hold on to that top floor again, and it didn't go too well last round.
There is definitely work for them to be doing. Let's see how things shape up. A small change in who's playing what in this round as well. Doki going across to the Azami. Citizen on the more Roma-friendly Mozzie here as well to look and do some work. And with this camera going up on the top floor, it's going to be in a good spot. I remember last time in the previous round, we actually saw Doki rotating up through that room, and he was just spraying out things as he went through to get rid of drones on the way through. Hopefully this time around, no one's shooting out the friendly drone that is now sat up on that top floor to see when Wolves step through. I imagine that could be because you might want Citizen to try and find a C4 from archives on the below, knowing full well that Wolves will want to be starting on the upstairs, getting that soft floor ripped up, and then thinking about their execute.
Prano just going to be scooting around on a drone at the minute. Just going to be having a little look at what's going on. Citizen with a captured drone as well. So plenty of information being taken away from the side of Wolves here and put directly into the hands of G2. And they need to maximise that. But Des, very quickly, Wolves have got top floor control. Citizen and the rest of G2 are going to be playing this one from out of sight completely.
Interesting change coming in for G2 versus what Wolves did on this site, by the way. In fact, if you take a look downstairs for a second, Medics, at where these keeper barriers are, remember how deep forwards they were for the side of Wolves last time round? Forgot the name for a second there. These two that they're first placed down are much deeper, so they're much more dug in towards this south side of the room rather than up towards the north, which gives Doki a good full back point, because that quad wall is already a really strong defensive spot to play in, but now having more barriers towards the south of the room, when he starts to feel threatened there, or if the wall gets opened up, he can step back and play behind those south-based keeper barriers. But you may well see him put a second one up towards the north soon anyway. It just means they have a little bit more extra reassurance that they've got a spot to fall back to.
Going to know that there's one underneath here now. How aggressive will Mowgli go? The drone gets shot out, so he knows that there's somewhere around bottom main stairs. But does he take the peek here? He starts moving through, but he's very, very cautious. They know that he's there somewhere. They just don't know exactly where. Mowgli's actually going to dip himself out of there. Virtue knows he's been spotted. He can't win this gunfight. There you go, Bibu. Well played from Wolves, using that information, getting the advantage in the gunfight and shutting the man down to get themselves the entry.
Again, more team play. Two players pushing down, looking for a trade potentially, and drones coming in from the other side. Just something that I felt G2 were missing on several rounds back in that first half. Wolves are showing in spades. Not quite respecting the fact there is a Wamai still on side, loses out one of those nades. Smoke comes through, may well look for a second. Another nade does connect, and now they're looking for another. Mowgli wanting to go deep here, stepping in. Will he get shut down? It's 2 kills in the round from a nade. Citizen is going to try and stem the bleeding, but I feel it's too late. Those fangs have sunk in too deep. Mowgli's getting the plant down, and Citizen looking to do what he can from inside of the other side, but all he can do is look through a window of opportunity that is snapped shut by Mowgli. That's match point for the Wolves.
A number of good nades there for Wolves, just really softening up and opening up that defence and allowing Mowgli in to get that diffuser down. It was a great attack from Wolves, like you say, just looking like such a cohesive team unit on that one, Des.
It's worrisome for G2, right? Again, that team play you referenced there that have set back on the basement.
It's worrying for the rest of EUL.
To a level, but though I do feel G2 are really
haven't been
off
fantastic, but Wolves are just looking so sharp in the comms and the team play.
I think Heroic and Wolves so far are looking like our top two.
Yep.
They're looking the strongest, like undoubtedly.
We've got more to play,
Of course, but based on what we've seen so far is kind of what we have to really preface that with. Based on what we've seen so far, Heroic and Wolves look like the best two teams that we've got. I do have a couple of concerns still for Wolves overall. Like, Bibu is having an absolute thunderous game, by the way. 12-4 playing on support. We don't see those kind of numbers out of him every day. Equally, again, I mentioned Rise earlier on. Didn't have the strongest last stage or the strongest major overall. Mowgli, you know, is going to play incredibly well. It's goddamn Mowgli. These 18-year-old kids are just on another level at the minute, Tim, and he's absolutely flying. So yes, they've got some strong, sharp edges, but when, say, for example, Mowgli is quiet, do they still keep their teeth? I'm not sure.
Who knows? Who knows? Now then, G2. They are on the defence of open area, and from this point on, Des, there are no more mistakes. Wolves have guaranteed themselves a minimum of overtime, but they will be banking on absolutely nothing because we've already seen it from Rogue tonight. This can be thrown away. M&M able to claw them back in and win 8-6 overall after taking 5 rounds in a row. Not the first time that we've seen M&M do that either. They're getting themselves quite the reputation for the turnaround after those tactical timeouts, but it's too easy, Des. It's too easy. Alamau gets forced out of his position in Archives, and P4, he's there to mop him up.
Look back at the difference to what we saw when G2 were on the attack. We had Alamau coming up the blue stairs. There was a castle on that window for this precise reason, in that it makes it safer for the Archives player. That was far too easy to cut Alamau off there. And again, it feels like G2 are just missing a couple of fundamental parts of their setups that's giving Wolves these wonderful opportunities. And you just saw a drone army rolling through that top floor, Tim. They're playing this so well, being very conservative with their drone play overall, and always looking to isolate players. Citizen is in real danger here of getting pinted from Archives and ATMs at the same time, and Marble. Once again, Wolves just showing team play is everything.
Got to get this kill onto Citizen here. They know his location. They know he's playing in behind that teller's desk, I think. And Bibu, he's in position to try and shut him down. Virtue takes a ton of damage. So does Prano. They must not have known he was there, Des. Citizen levels things up. But I come back to my point there. It got lost in the action behind teller's desk. Prano, Virtue, look at the health. They're both down to under 5 HP. They've taken an absolute ton. They are a breath away from death. And it is going to be a long round for them to try and get to the end of this.
I really feel you're just fighting a futile war there, really, against Shinka on the Hibana. He can just keep on shooting through those 2 pellets to get hatches opened up. Now, Citizen's down to about 5 HP as well, whilst all the side of walls are juiced up to the high heavens by the Finker. This is looking rough, Tim.
It could not be a bigger swing from one team to the other at the minute. 4 versus 4 with a minute left to go, and G2, they need to find kills is the top and bottom of it. They can't try to hold on here because they've just not got the health to be able to play that game. Doki now takes a ton of damage. I cannot believe that these G2 players have survived as long as they have, but Mowgli finds one. Doki makes the most of the health he's got and levels things up with a kill onto Shinka. 3 versus 3, 35 seconds.
Doki's looking behind one of the keeper barriers, but nades have rained in over these last few rounds and find yet another victim. It's Virtue going down, and Doki is dug in deep. You've got Virtue, trying to move his way up towards the top here, and Doki finds Mowgli. Did not expect to see that coming through, but surely now that communication comes in from Walls as to where he is. No way has he held on and got himself the 3. P4 comes in, the last challenger, looking for this Azami, dug in deep, knows about the diffuser, but can't do much about it. Doki looking for this 1 versus 1. Which side's it going to be? It's near side, and Doki gets a 4K. The real hero here of the staff room keeps G2 in it.
50 HP and manages to get a 4K. What a play. And it's fantastic. But it's another one of those hero plays, keeping G2 around in the match. There's 6-4 now. Wolves find themselves ahead, and they're not going to mind losing 1 round, but I tell you now, they will mind losing 2, and it coming back to 6-5. That's when the panic will start to set in. So Wolves, for me, they need to shut it down now.
I mean, look back at our last match as well between Rogue and M&M. It was 6-3 to Rogue. Crying, absolutely flying, 17 kills, barely stoppable, and still M&M pulled it back. Now, given G2 aren't playing anywhere near as convincing as what M&M were back on that matchup, it's come down to, as you say, a hero play there in the round. A couple of rounds ago, it was a 2 versus 3 coming out of Alamau and Virtue. They haven't been convincing rounds when G2 have won, and that is the only thing that makes me think Wolves will find a win in one of these 2 rounds. Whether it's by hook or by crook is up to them. It looks to be by crook. They've got the glass, they got the yin coming on side, and we all know what that means.
Get on those windows, get the candelas in, get the smokes in, and make it a living hell for G2 inside a site. G2, they're going to need to find kills onto those repelling players. Simple as that. Honestly, I might even advocate for a little jump out here. Just get yourself out of a window early round. They're not going to know who they're up against necessarily, but get yourself out of a window, take that Ying down, take the glass down, just get one of them out of the mix at least.
I bet BB just feels unleashed. He's played Hibana like the whole half. And now it's finally being said, right, now's my time. Now I can shine. A bit of Sledge in the mix as well, but now he gets to be on a much more active role. Kind of the center of the universe in this attack, alongside the Yin coming out of Rise, who, again, I hate to keep on touching on one guy, is now 0-10. Really not having a good game.
Nope, not at the minute, but it's not all that he does for the team, but as you say, you need, at this level, you need some contribution in terms of kills, realistically. Prano, big start, P4 gone, that's Iana down, that's Nerds lost, and that is exactly what G2 needed here. I tell you what, Des, I said at the beginning of the day that this one could be overtime, and it could be the one prediction that I get right at this rate.
Just the one of the day, but you never know, Tim. Don't count yourself out yet. Wolves can definitely still do this in the next couple of rounds. Mowgli coming in through square. Prano was down on marble, by the way, down towards the bottom side of the map. So that'll be in the back of their minds now. The K can still flank us if we're not careful. Let's make sure we've got these drones set up. Speaking of, I do want to once again call out how good Wolves have been with their drones versus G2. 8 still alive here about halfway into the round when G2 had lost half of theirs inside 30 seconds.
Shinka just being forced back out of the main door there, gets himself back inside, but he's going to take a lot of damage from up on Banana. Citizen ready for that fight. We can see that he's taken some damage as as well along the way, but out go the smokes, out go the candelas. Doki finds Mowgli.
No way.
And there's no real opportunity. Shinka's down in ATMs as well. Very little opportunity here for Wolves to follow in behind that utility that they unleashed. And it's pretty much done. They've rolled the dice. They are now 1 versus 5. And G2 from almost nowhere, Des, from winning rounds with hero players, they're staring down the barrel of a flawless round, and it's perfectly timed for them.
Just Bibu, the last man to go through, the one that I spoke about being the centre of the universe. He's the only planet left at this point. Citizen looking to get busy. I was going to say about him and Doki, by the way, that entry duo coming back online, sees the man, can't quite find the shot. Bibu down to about 60 HP, and here they go now looking to rotate off. They have got time to play with here as another keeper barrier comes out to make sure those barricades, at least for now, are locked up and they can't be shot through the bottom.
Bibu's just going to get himself up onto the rappel. He knows that Citizen's playing up there. Beautiful headshot he finds, but Citizen
Imagine if G2 throw this now.
Citizen's already played his round. He's already done the damage. There's too much hurt been brought by that as army now for Wolves to turn this over, surely. 20 seconds left to go. Shinka is moving on in. They don't have the diffuser. Bibu's just gone to collect it, but I very much doubt there's going to be an opportunity to get inside and put it down. 1v4 as Doki finds his man. 3k in the round. The jump out from Alamo will finish things off. Doki 7 kills in 2 rounds, Des, to drag G2 back into this and all the way into round 12.
Classic Doki, isn't it? After being so quiet pretty much all map long, now's the time you choose to show just when your team needs you most. In fact, I think out of those 7 kills that he got a 3k back in round 4, so it has been very selective rounds where Doki has been seen or heard, right? Look back at the prior one when he was roaming up on that top floor. Sure, he didn't get any kills, but he did waste a good chunk of time overall. If not for Wolves getting that wonderful pinching onto him, he could have gone on to do quite a bit of damage. Wolves, understandably, now they call their timeout because this is their last chance, Tim. They've got to get it right now. They've got to get it over the finish line in round 12, else overtime awaits. And given the momentum of G2, 3 rounds in the last 4, I would not want to be going to overtime.
Absolutely not. You know, like you say, it's really going to put Wolves on the back foot. That's why I said the last round and this one were particularly important 2 rounds. You know, they cannot have G2 levelling things up and pushing them into overtime. It needs to be done here and now for Wolves. And you get a little bit worried, I'm sure, if you're a Wolves fan, Des, because we've seen this from them before. We've seen them struggle to get games over the line when they're in a winning position, when they've been playing well. You know, it doesn't really go against the grain for them to now start struggling. It's that, I've referenced it before, I've called it like this clinching problem where you just can't get the game done. Wolves, they're staring down the barrel of it again, and the thing is, when it's happened so many times, it's then got to become a mental issue of its own. You get there and you think, oh, not this again.
I love it when games become like this, though, and they just get really scrappy, and you just don't know which way it's going to go. Like, I never would have said at the halfway point, 4-2 to Wolves, that they were going to find themselves coming back to go into overtime with G2 taking a 4-2 half. It has definitely not been in the fashion G2 will have wanted. And this is now 2 games in a row. Again, well, not really in a row, but 2 games on bank for G2. Looking back at the one from stage 1 against Rogue, looking at the one here in stage 2, and just seeing how G2 have always felt like a couple of steps behind the team they're against, but somehow just seem to drag themselves through to remaining competitive on the scoreline.
Lockers is going to be our final sight. If you're wondering how it's gone defensively for G2 so far, maybe you can glean a little idea of who might win this. Well, you can't. It's 50-50. They've defended it twice. Wolves have won 1, G2 have won 1. Last time around, Wolves shut down the roam game extremely well, got themselves a great advantage going into sight, but G2 were able to hold on somehow. Can they do that again? They certainly won't want it to be that close. Okay, he's going to take a ton of bullets, nearly 50 damage there as he has to drop away through the elevators, and that is Wolves dealing with the top floor roam at least very quickly, and they can now start moving down.
I saw an outline out towards ATMs and honestly thought Doki was about to drop into his death, because that would have been another real classic Wolves play where they were teaming up, forcing Doki to go for the drop and catching onto him as soon as he tried to retreat down, but no, couldn't quite get it done in that first instance. So Doki's still alive, only on half HP, and Citizen still lurking up here on this ground floor, making good use of cams to make sure there's nothing nasty coming up to bite him.
Citizen goes, Prano will stay sat on the hatch for the time being. Again, just trying to waste as much time as they can up in open area, whilst Rise, he continues remodelling up on that top floor. They need to deal with blue stairs quicker than last time. It's Virtue that will be playing there. He's on the Warden once again, but there was about 25 seconds left on the clock last time around when they were able to get in and start getting the kill onto him. Doki is going to be down somewhere. Will he be finished off? I'm not sure whether Wolves are aware of that or not, but no, he's actually going to be picked up. He's managed to get himself back down a hatch there and onto the bottom floor. That could be a big play from Doki.
Oh, here we go. This is that potential duel we're looking for around blue stairs, right? P4's just terrified that he's going to come up these stairs and swing onto him, but in Virtue's case, it's like, hey, this clock's hitting the last 60. I ain't got to go aggressive here. I know everyone expects European players to swing, but I'm an APAC player. We normally swing more. I ain't that kind of guy. They've got 2 players now gearing up. Maybe this is the bait point they're looking for as they start getting the hatch opened up. The thing is, Virtue knows what happened. Last time he got pushed from top and from bottom at the same time. He did get one, but was traded out just after. They also had an Azami player playing inside a server itself, but they got forced away by a flash. Citizen quite smartly has moved away, but gets full flashed out, double flashed out, make it a triple in a second. He might go down here.
There comes in. Citizen manages to escape, manages to take some damage onto P4, and Wolves are just struggling to get moving here. Finally do go down, get the kill onto Citizen. Alamo with the trade. And Virtue, he deploys the Nitro. Not going to have any joy with it, 4v4, but time could be the factor as they still haven't dealt with Virtue. He's being challenged top and bottom. He's finished off 4v3. 18 seconds left to go. Shinka needs to get himself inside a site here. Rise is on the book. He can open up the soft wall. There's an opportunity for Shinka to get the diffuser down, but that's a big kill from Alamo. 3 versus 3. They need to get that plant down. Shinka taking a lot of damage while trying. He has to stick it now. There's no option. Bibu's gone deep into sight again and manages to get the kill. Doki, 20 health. Gets one. 1v3 becomes 1v2. Becomes 1v1. He knows where the last is. He's going for the challenge. Surely he doesn't do this on 20 health. No!
Don't do it!
Bibu manages to get the final kill. Shuts down Doki, but boy, was that closer than it should have been.
What a game by Bibu as well, and touched on him throughout, but what, 14 kills he was on towards the end? Ludicrous fixture overall. You can see his own celebration there in that top right corner. Doki will be kicking himself that he couldn't have won it, but I think that is a deserved scoreline. Wolves, for me, by far and away the better team on the day, and that's even with Rise going 0-12, Tim.
I'd have to agree. Wolves definitely deserved the win there. G2 played their part, but it was down to hero players. Doki 1v3 at the end there, 20 HP, and nearly does it. But no, Bibu, once again, it was the same players we saw last time. Bibu just go into the centre of that defence, right into the heart, like a missile, kill, 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 and just closing out the round.
Bibu in gold bars. May well become his own spot in the future, especially if he keeps on doing that kind of stuff. Let's go to a break, and when we come back, our desk will break it down for you.